So it is recording. So let's make a formal introduction for our listener. Good afternoon, Bernie. My name is Claudio. I'm calling you from Washington, D.C. From the studios of Fairfax City. We are very humble and grateful that Bernhard Beibl accepted our invitation to our show. Bernie, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks a lot for having me. I'm very excited.
So first question. So with everything that is going on in general term with with the vaccine and cancel concert being canceled and everything, how you doing? Your family, your ability to compose music, you cannot, go out the match and do concert. How is this affecting your mind and your ability to record stuff
Okay.
in general terms?
To be honest, I was really, really shocked when I came back last year. I was touring Japan. Before I was in China. I was in January last year. I
Yeah,
was playing some concerts with my yoga guru. I will maybe tell you later about this project. We
yeah,
were playing a concert on yoga retreats in China, in Macau. And when we went to the airport, flying from Macau to Taiwan, because we were playing some concerts over there, suddenly there was the SMS coming, new virus outbreak, new coronavirus, attention, whatever. Okay. So everybody was a little bit wondering what's going on. And then we arrived in Taiwan. And the most crazy thing for me was I went to the hotel room and I was completely sick. 3 days or 4 days, I had a very high fever. So I'm still not sure because I didn't do any test at that time, but maybe I already had it at this time.
sure, sure.
Anyway, I came back to Austria. Everything was totally okay. They said, okay, that's a problem of Asia, like we had before, like with the swine flu or whatever. And this won't affect Austria as well. I went back to Japan. I had some concert there. I had a very nice time, 3-4 weeks. And while I was there, I could see the Japanese people turn from usually the 50% of the Japanese people have some mask in their face. So that's quite normal when you are in the subway and you see the masks. But during this time when I was in Japan, 100% of the people suddenly had masks. So I was really, I could see this development. And then I came back to Austria. And as soon as I was back in Austria, I played one last concert. And then everything was locked down. And yeah, since then it was very interesting time. Spending a lot of time finding to my true self, doing a lot of yoga, doing a lot of exercise, doing a lot of mountain biking. I got myself a mountain bike. I have a new hobby. I'm mountain biking all the time. I did a lot of practice guitar again. I started learning the sitar. I'm very happy about that. I'm learning sitar from a very, very cool sitar teacher in
Good,
India.
man. Beautiful.
I've been learning tabla maybe already 5 years in India as well, and I'm doing a lot of more tabla practice. So I'm much more into the Indian music stuff nowadays.
Good for you. I'm happy for you. Where you born? Let's go to the beginning. Were you born like in a musical family? How old were you when you began playing, learning keyboard and then guitar and
Mhm.
violin? How old were you?
So it's not really musical family, but my parents were classical music lovers always. And my mom is playing piano quite well. So she's doing a good job, but she's no professional. She's just doing it for fun. And I started violin when I was 6 years old.
Wow.
And I got affected by my sister because my older sister, she was playing the guitar. And I always found that instrument much more cool than what the instrument I was playing. So definitely I was allowed by my parents to also learn guitar when I was maybe around 13 or so. And when I was 14, I finally could start playing the electric guitar. So it was maybe the turning point in my life.
Were your parents very strict that you
My
couldn't play the
parents are
guitar?
both teachers, so they were quite strict. Yeah, they're language teachers, but yeah, they were quite strict, and I had to be quite a rebel in my home, so I could listen to my rock music. I was my most favorite band ever is the Beatles, so they had maybe not the hardest time listening to the Beatles, but when I started with Metallica, Guns N' Roses, Iron Maiden, whatever, they were sometimes looking at me, is this guy really crazy, or what is he doing in our house, or something like that.
And then, so when you pick up the guitar, the electric guitar, when you were 14, you kind of learned your own, or you took lessons, classes with teachers?
I had lessons at the music school
Yeah.
in my hometown, where I also worked the last years. I'm actually, how do you call it in English? Karens? No, I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not at the music school since 3 years, because I had so many gigs that I said, okay, I quit music school for some time, and then I will come back for teaching. And that's what actually happening. I go back to teaching in September, maybe. Mm-hmm.
And then, so at the time when you were the equivalent, I think you guys call it gymnasium in Germany. It's the equivalent of high school here.
Yeah.
You at the time when you were 18, you decided, I don't want to go to college. I want music to be my thing, my way of making a living.
My parents, they forced me to finish that school, and then I was allowed to go to the conservatory. So it was quite a, how do you call it, conservative household, whatever. But finally, when I was 19 or so, I was going to the conservatory. Before, because you're a computer guy, I started studying informatics, by the way, so IT. But I quit after half a year because I was so sure about it. I just want to play guitar until the end of my life. So I quit that, and I went to the conservatory, to another Tangerine Dream guitarist, to Gerald Gradwohl.
Oh, yeah.
Who was
Gerald, is he alive?
Yeah, and he was my teacher, and he is,
Oh,
my favorite guitarist.
We need to bring. You need to help me out. We need to get a hold of him. We'll have to interview him
for the show,
for the show,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then, so at the time, what kind of music were you listening when you were 19? You say Metallica.
My all-time favorite band is the Beatles.
The Beatles.
This will never change. But at this time, I was listening to all these guitar heroes. My really, really favorite is Paul Gilbert. So I'm so happy 2 years ago I was supporting Paul Gilbert's band with my band. It was one of the greatest moments in my life. Then Richie Kotzen, Steve Vai, Joe Satriani, Ingrid Malmsteen. So really all the guitar heroes. I was listening to that music. I was listening to Dream Theater a lot.
Yeah. What about bands like Genesis and Peter Gabriel, Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin? You like that kind of stuff? Jimmy Page?
Led Zeppelin for sure. I like more the rock stuff. So I got into touch with things like Genesis, whatever, later on when I was already playing with Tangerine Dream, and I was talking to Thorsten, and Thorsten said, "Oh, you don't know Genesis." I said, "No, I'm sorry. I was listening to all these guitar heroes."
Yeah, that's good, man. And then you had at home, your parent bought a lot of vinyl that you were classical music vinyl that you were listening to.
No, not really. So the first vinyl I stole from my parents is the White Album from the Beatles. So
wow.
I think they still don't know I have it here in my home. So I really secretly stole it from the collection of my father's LPs.
Yeah, like something like that. You took it, and you put it in your jacket.
It never came back to this place. So it's an original. It's an original White Album.
Oh. Well, you can sell it for a lot of money.
Maybe one day.
If you need the money one day, yeah. And then, so which one was the first band that you participated in, that you were a member of?
It was actually a local band. So it was called The Chunks. It was from my hometown, and it was quite a cool band to start with. I was 14 or 14 and a half years, maybe already 15, I don't know. And they were looking for 2 new guitarists because they had 2 guitarists before. It was a band with 13 people. So the whole brass section, they were playing some kind of Blues Brothers style songs. Yeah. And then I joined this band, and suddenly I was there and no other guitarist coming. So they switched from 2 guitarists to one young guitarist, because all the other band members were 25 or older, and I was maybe 15, as I said. Yeah, so I learned with this band, I learned how to play loud. because I had to be very loud. I lost some frequencies in my ear playing together with this band because I was already cranking up the Marshall like crazy, and still my ear to the speaker and hearing myself. It was really crazy time. And I also learned, to abuse alcohol with these older guys in the same band. So it was a good experience.
And then when you were making money, or no, or free?
Not really at this time. It was a local band, so maybe the biggest concerts we played were with 1,000 people, whatever.
1,000. Well, still very good.
Still 13 people in the band.
Yeah.
When share the money?
When was the first gig that you actually got paid? Was it a different band after that?
I actually got paid, yeah, but it was very little money at this time. So the first real well-paid things were when I was playing some jazz gigs after study. Yeah.
And both on. Do you continue with the violin or just with the guitar?
The violin just for studio occasions. Maybe if I compose some song that needs a violin, I will play my violin myself.
Yeah. I interviewed a couple months ago. I interviewed one of my heroes. It's Jean-Luc Ponty from France.
Wow. Amazing.
Of course, everybody knows Jean-Luc. Yeah. You can, if you have the time, you can watch the interview. He's my hero. I mean, the guy is amazing. Because I like kind of jazz rock and stuff. Not yet pure jazz, but not pure rock. And I've been following Jean-Luc Ponty for, 30-40 years. The first album that I bought was, one of his albums in 1976, a long time ago. So it was a good experience. So, and then how was to join, Tangerine Dream? You needed to go for an audition. You knew the band before they call you in. How was?
To be very honest, I didn't know the band before.
Yeah.
And I only heard the name once before because Gerald, he was playing with Tangerine Dream. And I heard that Gerald is playing with Tangerine Dream, some famous band. I didn't know them at the time, okay? And then actually the whole story, if you really want to hear it.
Yeah.
I had several rock bands at this time, so local bands, playing own stuff, playing covers, whatever. And my sound engineer from that time, his name is Gerd Balkovich. He was later on as well, sometimes featured on Tangerine Dream DVDs or CDs, whatever, because he was some guy in the background later on. But he bought a tape deck machine from Edgar. But he didn't know at this time that this was Edgar's machine. He just bought it on eBay. And it was an Otari machine. So when Gerd went to Edgar to pick up the machine, Edgar asked him, you know how to use this machine? And Gerd answered, yes, for sure, I know. And you know how some other stuff in the studio? And yeah, because he's a sound engineer, he said, yes, I know a lot. Yeah. And so Edgar invited him to work together with him. And maybe 2 weeks later, so he told me the story. Gerd, he told me the story. And 2 weeks later, he just calls me, hey, Edgar is searching a new guitarist. He's looking for a new guitarist, and I should come and I should play there. So I was actually teaching at music school, and I had my cheapest guitar with me. So I was quite some kind of nervous. I thought, okay, I should go there for casting, whatever. With
audition,
cheapest equipment I have, but doesn't matter. Okay, I drove there. They have the studio close to Vienna, the Eastgate Studios, and I drove there, and Edgar, telling me, go improvise. He put the track on with E minor, I think 10 minutes, and I was improvising 10 minutes over E minor. And then he was quite impressed. And there was this funny saying, what's wrong with your feet? He asked me, and I said, why? What's wrong with my feet? And he said, you don't move your feet while you're playing. So it was because I was stuck there and just concentrating on what I was playing. Sure. So he wanted to see me for a show with my band. So because Gerd, my friend, he told him, Bernie, usually he's moving like crazy. You have to see him when he's in action. And Edgar came to a concert to my local band, and
yeah.
I was doing all that crazy stuff at this time, playing behind the back, running around with my wireless system, having people behind me, you know, like this, doing the whole round in the bar. And Edgar thought I'm completely crazy, and he didn't call me anymore. But at the same time, he asked Gerald, my teacher, he asked, "What's wrong with this Bernie? He's playing quite okay, quite well, but he must be completely crazy." And it was Gerald to tell him, no, he's a normal guy and you can trust him, whatever. But Edgar really wanted to check me out for the first concert. There was the Tempodrome in Berlin. Yeah. So he got Gerald back to the band to play this concert. And I had mainly the part of the violinist at this time in Tangerine Dream. So he really wanted to check if I can keep cool on stage. But somehow I proved it, and then I was the guitarist. Yeah. Yeah, because you began in 2006. So you were very young at that time. How old were you at the time? 26. Yeah. Wow. Impressive. You know, Tangerine Dream. 2005, and I was 26 there. Okay. Yeah, Tangerine Dream is well known all over the world, right? So, well, Tangerine Dream has had so many generations, so many people have played Tangerine Dream, right? Yeah. So, and with Berlin having too many, you know, electronic musicians, I was always surprised that he ended up. Many people from Vienna end up joining, end up Austria, end up in the band. It's a German band. And if you go to Berlin, there are thousands of electronic musicians. So I'm surprised that, right, they end up, many people from Austria end up in that band, right? Yeah. Yeah. But it's because of his studio. He had this second studio here, the Eastgate Studios, that's close to Vienna. That's the reason. And that's the reason he wanted to have some musicians from Austria, I guess. Is the studio still exist? I think it still exists. I have no contact since I quit the band because it was not the best relation how we ended up. Yeah. I never had any problems with Edgar. Edgar is a god for me. So I really loved him, and this will never happen. But that I say something better about him. But it was the people around him that made me quit the band and gotcha. And also cancel the connection. Yeah. I end up emailing Jerome a couple days ago. So I would love to interview him as well because Tangerine Dream in general, right? Is very important, especially the early stuff. The early stuff was unbelievable. You know, the late stuff began too commercial. They were doing too many albums. The quality was not there. So the first, I don't know, the 70s and 80s, I think, up to 2000 something, that was good. And then after that, they would put so many albums, but the quality was. And they began doing a lot of good soundtrack too, but then it wasn't Tangerine Dream. It was something else. Yeah, you know. So, but that's my opinion, man. And so it was difficult so then you began doing the violin, and then you say, okay, I trust this guy. Then you took the guitar, and the rest is history in Tangerine Dream. Was it difficult to do live gigs with Tangerine? Is it difficult to first learn the music and go on tour with Tangerine, playing live? You know, the hardest part about Tangerine Dream, maybe I should not do it, but I'll tell you a small secret. Yeah. There is this big question always in the internet, if everything is playback or everything is live or whatever. Yeah. And actually, you know, there is a video running in the background, there is light time to the music, whatever. There is always some part playback, okay? And some of the gigs, it was really that Edgar sent me the playback for practice, maybe 1 week before we went on tour. And then it was a 3 hours program. So I had to really practice like crazy that 1 week so I can play as perfectly as possible. I could never play perfectly because it was always not enough time to practice, okay? To practice, right. Yeah, and I had to play as good as possible to this playback on stage. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was, yeah, sometimes it was really hard to practice a lot. I had my 10 hours of practice a day than this 1 week, but then it, yeah, somehow it worked.
And then you like the area from, I think, a 205 to 11, and then again you were 211 to 214. You like the early era to the early 2000, the 216, 217, or you
The
like the
music, you mean?
latest? Huh?
The music, you mean? The
Yeah,
Tangerine
yeah,
Dream music.
yeah.
To be very honest, the more I got into the old stuff of Tangerine Dream, okay, I could hear there is a big difference in the quality. So the stuff from the 70s, 80s is, wow, it's crazy, amazing compositions, and it was a little bit going down to the end. It was sometimes in the end, it was just one loop running through and some instrumentalist making music over it. So it was not the coolest thing in the end. Yeah. So the old stuff is for sure, it's amazing whatever they did.
Yeah. And I'm I have interviewed several German musicians from that era. I haven't had the chance to. Klaus Schulze. Klaus Schulze is kind of sick, so he's not doing interviews, unfortunately. But I emailed to Manuel Goshin, who is another hero of mine, and so many. So there are so many good musicians in Germany. I know more German musicians that play that. Quite sure in Austria, many good people play electronic musicians too. Doing there as well. So there's so many great musicians there, man. Electronic music is. I like pop. I like rock, but I like to listen to electronic music. It take in my imagination, take me places, man.
Yeah, because you're a computer guy, you need the technical music.
Yeah, I always listen music, and I have Tangerine Dreams. I have, I don't know, like 10 vinyl and then like 50 CDs. No, I have a big music collection, man. I don't know, I have like 5,000 CDs and like 2,000 vinyl and more in different floors. And still, I bought a lot. I need to make time to listen to stuff, man. You know, I'm buying more than I can consume. But
Yeah.
that's me, man. So and then it was so you saying you didn't have enough time to practice, and then when with Tangerine will go on tour, right? You guys were doing 50 to 100 gigs a year, right? So it was.
Unfortunately, not at the time when I was with the band, because the gigs were, maybe the maximum was the one tour where we played 10 gigs in America. Maybe was the maximum I ever played was maybe 20 or 25 concerts a year.
In a year.
So this was really before my time.
Yeah, in Europe and in America, right? And it was difficult for you to leave the family behind, get your passport, and then go on tour, and then catch a flight, going to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning, and then waking up at 7 to go to a bath. Or is it difficult to adjust?
That's perfect. That's exactly my life. That's my life I always wanted to have, and I still have it. So the biggest lesson I learned from playing with Tangerine Dream for me in my life was Edgar told me, either you make music with friends and make no money, or you make music with people you don't really like, but you can make money. That was some kind of saying he said to me, yeah. And after I quit Tangerine Dream, my first focus was I just want to make music with my friends again, because in the end, unfortunately, there was no friendship in the band anymore. It was just a business, okay? And the first thing I did, I started this duo, my cover duo with my very best friend since childhood. We know each other since close to 40 years, 35 years, whatever. And we were actually starting playing 10 years ago. We were doing our Beatles cover duo, unplugged stuff. And we played a lot of concerts, sometimes up to 50 a year, whatever, and it was
Beautiful,
always
man.
fun. And we make money, so it's also possible to make money with friends.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
I would like to tell it, Edgar, but it's not possible anymore.
I only saw. I have seen Tangerine. Yeah, I only seen Tangerine Dream once. That was about, I don't know, about 6 years ago. I saw them here in DC,
Mhm.
and Edgar was there, and Linda was there as well, Thorsten,
Yeah.
and Yoshiko, and it was good. It was a beautiful. I know that Edgar was getting very old. He couldn't move that much, but it was a good experience for me. It's
Cool.
buying an album and then all of a sudden going to a concert was your fan, right? And then interviewing people like you. So for me, it's important. I don't know. Like I say before, I told Iris Kama, I don't know how to play music. I don't care. Talking to people, listen to good music. That's very, very important to me. I don't know how to play any keyboard, nothing. But music is so important to me, Bernie, that's why I buy a lot of music. I see close to 30 shows a year here because there's
Mhm.
in where I live there are too many good venues, and I've been able to see a lot of great bands, man. So it's when I want to die happy.
Yeah.
So and also I want to thank. I think Iris very likely will listen to the interview, and I'm very grateful that uh, Iris helped me out to get in touch with you and so other people. So I'm grateful to that,
Yeah.
man. All right, so let's talk about your life after Tangerine Dream, and then because you have done a lot of stuff, and I was able to listen to the stuff you sent me a couple days ago, and the album 2012 is very, very, very good album. I
Thanks a
really
lot.
like
Wow.
this. And the
Mhm.
stuff with the Somi, that's yoga. So I want to ask you, your comment in some particular song and how that particular composition came together. Garden of Life, for example. But that's a beautiful piece, man.
I'm
You go
very
back
happy
and
to hear
forth,
that.
start very slow, you go to the guitar, then you go down. It's,
Mhm.
feel free to elaborate on any of this.
Wow. So the whole Garden of Life, this is maybe my yoga story. So it was during I was playing with Tangerine Dream. I had this very crazy burnout thing. So at this time I told you I was teaching. I was teaching 3.5 or even 4 days a week. I was doing a lot of music for Austrian Broadcasting Corporation. So I was composing, sometimes I had to compose 10, 12 songs a week, mix them and give it to